Welcome back to Knowledge Before Sleep. In the quiet space of the late night, let your body rest completely on your soft bed. Take a deep breath, feeling a sense of relaxation spread from the top of your head all the way down to your feet. Tonight, I will take you on a journey to discover our silent guardian, the Earth's magnetic field. Together, we will learn about the invisible force that has protected life for billions of years, helping you drift off to sleep with a feeling of being sheltered and in absolute peace. Imagine you are floating, as light as a single silk thread, in the vast darkness of space. Down below, our blue planet appears magnificent. Like a brilliant sapphire jewel, spinning rhythmically, you see fluffy white clouds, vast oceans filled with deep blue water, and solid continents. However, there is something miraculous that our naked eyes can never see. Surrounding that blue jewel is a colossal network of energy, an incredibly powerful, invisible shield of armor known as the Earth's magnetic field. Did you know that without this invisible shield, the life we cherish could never have existed? The magnetic field is our devoted gatekeeper, working tirelessly 24 hours a day for billions of years. To understand its power, let's look toward the sun, the brilliant star that gives us light and warmth. The sun doesn't just send light, it also constantly ejects powerful streams of charged particles, traveling at tremendous speeds of up to about 1,600,000 kilometers per hour. Scientists at NASA call this phenomenon the solar wind. If these winds were to directly hit the Earth's surface, they would strip away our oxygen and nitrogen-rich atmosphere in a short time. They would evaporate all the water in the oceans and incinerate every sprout of life. But this is where the magnetic field appears. Like a guardian angel, when the charged particles from the solar wind rush toward us, instead of crashing into us, they encounter an invisible but incredibly strong magnetic barrier. The magnetic field bends these winds, forcing them to go around our planet, much like a rock in a stream causes the water to flow around it on both sides. This shield extends from deep within the planet and reaches far out into space, about 64,000 kilometers toward the sun. On the opposite side, the magnetic field is stretched by the solar wind, forming a gigantic tail that extends for hundreds of thousands of kilometers into the darkness. Its scale is so vast that it's difficult for us to fully comprehend with our ordinary minds. All we know is that every gentle breath you are taking right now, every peaceful heartbeat in your sleep, is being protected by that great web of energy. Researchers at space organizations like ESA have used modern satellites to map the magnetic field. They found that it is not a rigid, stationary block. It bends, vibrates, and changes with every breath of the cosmos. Sometimes, when the sun gets angry and unleashes massive storms, our magnetic field has to brace itself to withstand the impact. At those times, some of the energy from the solar wind is channeled toward the two polar regions, creating the magical bands of light we call the aurora. This is the clearest evidence that the shield is working hard to protect us. Take a deep breath and feel a sense of absolute safety. Our Earth is not as lonely and fragile as we might think. It carries within it an intrinsic power, a durable magnetic energy source to preserve life. It is thanks to the magnetic field that our atmosphere remains stable, helping to maintain the necessary pressure to keep water in a liquid state, and the concentration of oxygen always sufficient for all living creatures. If we look at our neighbors like Mars, we see a terrifying difference. Mars once had a strong magnetic field, but when it disappeared, the planet was stripped of its entire atmosphere by the solar wind and became a dry, silent, red desert. The presence of the magnetic field also brings other wonders to life. It helps migratory birds find their way home after flying for thousands of kilometers, and helps tiny sea turtles navigate the vast ocean. And for humans, the magnetic field is the basis for our use of the compass, helping us find our way on journeys to explore the world. As you gradually sink into the deepest state of relaxation, let the idea of this shield envelop your soul. Feel yourself lying in a safe cocoon, protected by the great forces of nature. The magnetic field is not just a dry physics concept in scientists' books. It is the heartbeat, the warmth, the promise of protection from our blue planet to us. The story of this silent gatekeeper will continue with many more fascinating details. We have just gone through the initial overview to see the irreplaceable importance of the magnetic field. But where does this shield come from? What is happening deep beneath the rock and soil we are lying on to create such a tremendous force? In the next chapter, we will begin a journey through to the center of the Earth. Together, we will dive thousands of kilometers deep, passing through the thin crust, across the scorching mantle to reach the planet's core, considered the world's gigantic power plant. But that is a story for the next chapter. For now, just let this feeling of reassurance guide you. You are protected. You are sheltered by an invisible but eternal power. Relax every muscle. Let your breath be gentle and steady. A feeling of warmth and safety is spreading throughout your body. I wish you a very good, deep sleep in the embrace of the great magnetic shield. Our journey begins from the outermost layer, where you are resting right now. The Earth's crust, also known as the lithosphere, is actually incredibly thin compared to the immense size of the entire planet. Imagine the Earth as a giant apple. This crust is only as thin as the apple's skin. In the deep oceans, this crust is only about 5 kilometers thick. Meanwhile, on the continents with their majestic mountain ranges, it can be up to about 70 kilometers thick. This is the world of hard rock, of sand and dust, and the place that nurtures all life as we know it. However, this crust is not a single, solid piece. It is divided into many large and small tectonic plates, which are silently shifting on a softer layer beneath them. As the exploratory vessel of your mind begins to pass through the crust, the temperature starts to rise slowly. The deeper we go, the denser and warmer the space becomes. We are about to enter the mantle, a gigantic layer of rock that makes up about 84% of the Earth's volume. This mantle extends from the base of the crust down to a depth of about 2,900 kilometers. Here, the rock is not completely solid like on the surface, but it's not quite liquid either. Under extreme pressure and temperature, the rock in the mantle becomes pliable and can flow very slowly, like hot asphalt or thick honey. This slow movement, lasting for millions of years, creates silent convection currents that push the continental plates, shaping the face of our planet. The main components of the mantle are rocks rich in magnesium and silicate, creating a foundation for our planet that is both stable and flexible. Breathe steadily, feeling the warmth enveloping you as we go deeper still. Passing the 2,900-kilometer mark, your exploratory vessel will reach a critical boundary where everything changes abruptly. We have arrived at the Earth's core. The Earth's core is not a single, unified mass, but is divided into two distinct parts with completely different properties, the outer core and the inner core. First, we will glide through the outer core. This is a vast region, about 2,260 kilometers thick. Unlike the pliable mantle, the outer core is entirely liquid. It is a vast ocean of molten metal, composed mainly of iron and nickel. The temperature here is incredibly intense, ranging from about 4,400 to 5,000 degrees Celsius. Imagine a sea of fiery red metal swirling in the eternal darkness of the Earth's interior. It is the constant motion of this electrically conductive ocean of metal that is the key to creating the magnetic field we mentioned in the previous chapter. The pressure here is also tremendous, millions of times greater than the atmospheric pressure on the surface. But because the temperature is so high, the metal remains in a liquid state, free to flow. Continuing our journey through that sea of liquid metal, we will enter the final center of the planet, the inner core. This is a solid sphere located at the very center of the Earth, with a radius of about 1,220 kilometers, comparable to the size of the Moon. Although the temperature at the Earth's center is extremely high, reaching up to about 5,400 degrees Celsius, similar to the temperature on the surface of the Sun, the inner core cannot melt. The reason is that the pressure at the center of the Earth is so immense that it squeezes the iron and nickel atoms together, preventing them from separating and forcing them to exist in a solid state. The inner core is like a stable nucleus, serving as the anchor around which the entire planet rotates. You might be wondering, how can humans know exactly what's happening thousands of kilometers deep, a place where no drill could ever reach? The answer lies in the silent vibrations of the Earth itself. Scientists use extremely sensitive instruments to record the seismic waves that radiate from earthquakes. These waves travel through the Earth's interior, much like sound travels through different materials. By tracking the speed and the way these waves bend or reflect as they pass through different layers, geologists have mapped out a detailed picture of the planet's structure. They noticed that some types of waves can travel through solids but are stopped by liquids. And it's thanks to this that we know for certain that the outer core is a liquid layer surrounding a solid nucleus. This entire multi-layered structure is not a random arrangement. During Earth's formation about 4.5 billion years ago, when the planet was a molten mass of material, the heaviest elements, like iron and nickel, sank to the center due to gravity, forming the planet's core. Lighter elements like silicates, oxygen, and magnesium rose to the surface to form the mantle and the crust. This layering created the perfect conditions for a magnetic field-generating machine to operate stably for billions of years. Now, as the exploratory vessel of your mind comes to a halt at the solid inner core, feel the stability and warmth radiating from the center of the blue planet. We are standing in the deepest place, the origin of the great forces that protect life. The Earth is like a living entity, with a blazing heart that beats with an intense yet incredibly stable rhythm. The separation between the layers, the interaction between the liquid outer core and the solid inner core, along with the heat left over from its primordial beginnings, all coordinate in perfect harmony. As you prepare to leave this subterranean journey and return to the quiet of your room, remember the image of these structural layers. They are the foundation, the solid framework for the invisible shield that envelops you. Our journey to the center of the Earth has helped us understand the structure of our shared home. In the next chapter, we will spend more time in the liquid outer core to explore the ocean of iron and nickel more closely, the place where enormous electric currents are directly generated. We will learn together why the combination of these two elements is so crucial for human existence. But for now, just let your mind rest. Feel the weight of your body being gently supported by the Earth's crust. You are safe, and the planet beneath you continues its silent operation according to beautiful physical laws. Let the warmth from deep within the Earth soothe you, bringing you into an even deeper state of relaxation, preparing you for the exciting discoveries to come. We are now standing before a magnificent scene that no human eye has ever directly witnessed. It is a vast ocean, but not of cool, blue water waves, but a sea of liquid metal, glowing a brilliant reddish-orange, swirling in the stillness of the Earth's depths. This is the Earth's outer core, a layer of liquid about 2,260 kilometers thick, enveloping the solid nucleus at the very center. Here, the average temperature ranges from about 4,400 to 5,000 degrees Celsius. To give you a better idea, this heat is comparable to the temperature on the surface of the Sun. In such a terrifying environment, almost everything we know on the surface would vaporize instantly. But at this depth, under pressure 1.3 million times greater than the air pressure at sea level, metals don't vaporize. Instead, they turn into a thick, viscous liquid state, flowing like rivers of lava, but possessing electromagnetic properties. The predominant components of this ocean are iron and nickel. Why these two metals, and not gold, silver, or lead? The answer lies in the formation of the solar system about 4.6 billion years ago. Back then, the Earth was a giant, molten mass. Due to the pull of gravity, the heaviest elements sank deep into the center, while lighter elements rose to form the crust. Iron and nickel are heavy elements and incredibly common in the universe. Scientists at NASA found evidence of this when studying meteorites that fell to Earth. They often contain large amounts of iron and nickel, proving that the cores of rocky planets all share a similar recipe. In this sea of liquid metal, iron plays the leading role. Iron is not only a durable metal, but also an excellent electrical conductor. In its hot, liquid state, the electrons in iron atoms become more mobile than ever. They can move freely, setting the stage for the emergence of enormous electric currents. Nickel, its faithful companion, helps the metal mixture maintain its ductility and stable physical properties under extreme pressure. The combination of iron and nickel creates a perfect environment for generating magnetism. Take a slow breath and feel the vibration of these metallic currents. They are not stationary, because the solid inner core is radiating a tremendous amount of heat from radioactive decay and residual heat from the planet's formation. The liquid metal parts near the center get hotter, lighter, and begin to rise. Conversely, the metal parts near the mantle above have cooled slightly, becoming heavier and sinking down. This circulation creates enormous convection currents, thousands of kilometers high. Imagine it like the swirling patterns of steam when you blow on a hot cup of tea. But here, it's heavy currents of metal swirling continuously. However, this metallic ocean doesn't just contain iron and nickel. Geological studies show the presence of small amounts of lighter elements like oxygen, sulfur, and silicon. These elements play an incredibly important, yet unexpected, role. They act like tiny bubbles that help alter the specific gravity of the metallic mixture, driving the convection process to be more powerful and regular. Without these light elements, the circulation of liquid iron might slow down, and the planet's generator might not operate as efficiently as it does today. The pressure at this depth is so immense it could turn common gases into liquids and make liquid metals more viscous than any honey you've ever seen. Yet, thanks to the enormous and sustained heat, this ocean maintains the necessary fluidity. It is the fluidity of this electrically conductive metal flow that is the foundation for everything that protects us on the surface. Let your mind listen to this silent rhythm. Every movement of the liquid iron deep within the earth is a promise of safety. We are living on a planet with a heart that is always burning and constantly in motion. The heat from the core not only sustains the magnetic field, but also indirectly helps keep our planet from freezing, maintaining the necessary warmth for life. Scientists at ESA, through their satellite missions, have observed that these flows sometimes change speed or direction, leading to minor fluctuations in the magnetic field on the surface. But overall, this gigantic machine has been operating stably for billions of years. It's like a perpetual clock, wound by the very energy that formed the planet. As you begin to feel your breath synchronize with the quiet of the night, hold on to the image of this radiant metallic ocean. It is not frightening. It is a warm and powerful source of energy. It is from here that the invisible magnetic threads begin to be woven, stretching out through thousands of kilometers of solid rock before radiating into space, shielding us from cosmic storms. This molten ocean of iron and nickel is the very soul of the Earth. It reminds us that, even in the darkest, deepest places, there are always miraculous movements to create light and protection. Everything on this planet, from the green blades of grass to the clear atmosphere originates from the harmonious operation of this sea of liquid metal. Now, let the warmth of the Earth's core soothe you. Feel the enduring strength that exists right beneath your back, deep within the Earth. The motion of iron and nickel is creating a profound symphony of physics, a lullaby from the blue planet for all living things. You are on the safest ship in the universe, with a powerful and eternal engine. In the next chapter, we will explore how these metallic currents actually generate electricity and a magnetic field through a miraculous mechanism called the dynamo. We will see how the Earth's rotation combines with this metallic ocean to create unparalleled power. But for now, just let your mind rest in the warm red glow of the outer core, feeling the relaxation spread throughout your body. This journey to explore the heart of our planet has deepened our appreciation for this life. Relax completely and let sleep come naturally and peacefully, like the currents of metal silently circulating beneath our feet. After exploring the blazing ocean of liquid metal in the outer core together, we will now learn how that enormous mass of material actually operates to create the magnetic field. Scientists call this miraculous phenomenon by a technical name, the dynamo mechanism, or what can be simply understood as a natural generator located at the center of the planet. For a generator to operate stably for billions of years, it needs key elements that coordinate with each other perfectly. The first element is an electrically conductive fluid. As we know, the Earth's outer core is a vast ocean of molten metal, composed mainly of iron and nickel. In an environment with temperatures reaching thousands of degrees Celsius, these metals not only melt, but also become excellent electrical conductors. Imagine this metallic ocean as a massive network of electrical wires, twisting and intertwining, ready for a current to flow through at any moment. The second element is the energy that creates movement. Deep within the Earth, this energy comes from immense heat. The temperature in the inner core is higher than in the outer core, creating a distinct temperature difference. Just like when you boil a kettle of water on the stove, the hotter water at the bottom becomes lighter and rises, while the cooler water at the top sinks. This process is called convection. In the Earth's core, these streams of molten iron and nickel continuously perform these convection loops, rising and falling, creating a powerful churning within the metallic ocean. However, if there were only up and down convection, the magnetic field could not form as stably and strongly as it does today. This is where the third element comes in, the Earth's rotation. Our planet doesn't stand still, it constantly spins on its axis. This very rotation creates a special physical force called the Coriolis effect. Imagine trying to draw a straight line on a spinning record. That line would be bent into a spiral. The same thing happens deep within the Earth. The Coriolis force causes the convecting metal currents not just to move up and down, but also to twist into enormous spiral columns parallel to the Earth's axis of rotation. It is the combination of this flow of conductive metal and these spiral-shaped vortexes that creates a miraculous physical phenomenon. An initial electrical current, no matter how small, generates a magnetic field as it moves through these spirals. And the most amazing part is that this magnetic field, in turn, amplifies the electrical current, and the stronger current creates an even stronger magnetic field. This is a self-reinforcing loop, allowing Earth's dynamo to sustain itself without any external energy source. Take a deep breath and feel the rhythm of this great machine. Enormous spiral columns of metal, thousands of kilometers high, are churning day and night deep beneath the rock. They are like magnetic ropes being woven together, creating the unparalleled strength of our planet's shield. Scientists at NASA have used the world's most powerful supercomputers to simulate these movements, and they've found that their structure is incredibly complex, yet possesses a perfect mathematical beauty. The magic of the dynamo mechanism lies in its being a perfect self-sustaining system. The heat from the crystallization of iron in the inner core and the decay of radioactive elements provides a perpetual source of fuel. As long as the Earth continues to spin and its core remains hot, this generator will continue to operate, weaving the magnetic shield that protects us. If you could see through thousands of kilometers of rock and metal, you would witness a scene as majestic as any distant galaxy. Brilliant orange streams of iron, intertwined magnetic vortexes, creating a web of energy that envelops the entire space around the core. It is the true heart of the planet, where physics and beauty merge to create life. The precision of this mechanism is astonishing. With just a slight change in the planet's rotation speed or a shift in the viscosity of the metallic liquid, the magnetic field could have weakened or disappeared entirely. But for billions of years, this dynamo has worked tirelessly. Even though it has fluctuated and even reversed its polarity at times, it has always been there as a testament to the Earth's intrinsic power. As you lie here, in the silence of the night, allow your mind to feel a connection to this great dynamo. The current flowing deep within the Earth is the source of the shield, protecting you from harmful cosmic rays. Every rotation of the planet, every flow of molten iron, is helping to keep our atmosphere intact and our oceans from drying up. Relax your entire body, from your toes to the top of your head. Feel your weight being supported by a planet that is intensely alive. The Earth is not just a lifeless rock. It is a sophisticated and vibrant machine. The operation of the dynamo is an unspoken music, a symphony of temperature, pressure, and rotational motion, bringing us peace and safety. The story of how the magnetic field is created helps us understand the grandeur of nature. We exist not only because of sunlight or drinking water, but also because of the massive electrical currents flowing silently in the darkest part of our planet. This protection is a priceless gift, meticulously prepared since the dawn of the solar system. In the next chapter, we will delve deeper into the beauty of these movements, learning specifically how the Earth's rotation coordinates with convection currents to create a dance of metal and magnetism. We will see more clearly the role of the Coriolis force, the force that has shaped the magnetic field we rely on. For now, just let your mind drift with the gentle magnetic spirals. Let the understanding of the dynamo bring you a sense of ease, knowing that this world is governed by steadfast and protective laws. The silence of the night envelops you, and deep below, the heart of the Earth continues to beat with a strong and loving rhythm. As we pause here at the Earth's outer core, you find yourself witnessing one of nature's most magnificent spectacles. This space is not at all still, but is filled with ceaseless motion. To understand why the magnetic field has such enduring strength, we need to look closer at the two main dancers deep within the Earth: thermal convection currents and the inertial force from the planet's rotation. Let's start with the convection currents. Imagine you're standing before a calm lake on an early morning, as warm vapor begins to rise from its surface. Deep within the Earth, this process happens on a much more massive and intense scale. The Earth's inner core, a solid sphere of iron and nickel, constantly radiates an enormous amount of heat. This heat comes not only from the planet's primordial formation about 4.5 billion years ago, but also from the steady decay of radioactive elements within. When the liquid metal at the bottom of the outer core comes into contact with this incredible heat, it begins to warm up. As they heat up, the metal atoms expand, become less dense, and begin their journey upward toward the cooler mantle. Along the way, they release their heat and gradually cool down, becoming denser and heavier, then slowly sink back down. In this way, gigantic loops are established, creating continuous, circulating convection currents. Feel this rhythm, like the planet's breath, slow, steady, and extremely stable. However, if there were only simple up and down movement, these flows would just be vertical columns of metal. But our Earth never stands still. The planet is spinning on its axis at an incredible velocity. At the equator, this rotational speed reaches about 1,670 kilometers per hour. It is this rotation that gives rise to an invisible yet powerful physical force that scientists call the Coriolis effect. To easily visualize the Coriolis force, imagine you're sitting on a merry-go-round at a park. If you try to throw a ball straight to a friend sitting across from you, you'll see that the ball doesn't travel in a straight line, but strangely curves to one side. Deep within the Earth, the Coriolis force acts on the convecting liquid metal in a similar way. Instead of going straight up from the bottom, the streams of molten iron are bent and twisted into enormous, spring-like columns. These spiral columns look like tornadoes of glowing red metal, stretching thousands of kilometers high and aligned parallel to the Earth's north-south axis of rotation. This is the dance we are talking about. The combination of heat pushing the currents upward and the planet's rotation, bending them into spirals, creates a geometric structure that is extremely complex yet utterly perfect. It is within these spring-shaped spiral columns that a miraculous phenomenon occurs. When a conductive liquid like iron moves in a spiral pattern, it creates interwoven and nested magnetic field lines. Imagine each spiral column as a giant electrical coil in a generator. The more columns there are, and the more stable the rotation, the stronger and more orderly the resulting magnetic field becomes. This is why the Earth's magnetic field has two distinct poles, a north and a south, corresponding to the planet's axis of rotation. If the Earth were to slow down, or if the core were to cool to the point that convection currents stopped, this dance would end. And when the dance ends, the magnetic shield would also vanish into nothingness. This is what happened to Mars. The smaller red planet cooled down faster than Earth, causing its core to no longer sustain strong convection currents. When its dynamo engine shut down, Mars lost its suit of armor, and its atmosphere was stripped away by the solar wind, leaving behind a barren and cold world. But for Earth, its good fortune lies in being just the right size to retain heat and having just the right rotation speed to create the necessary Coriolis force. This seamless coordination between thermodynamics and celestial mechanics has turned the blue planet into a sturdy fortress. Take a deep breath and feel the rhythmic vibration from deep within the Earth. Those helical columns of metal are still silently spinning, day after day, century after century, keeping the magnetic shield stretched wide to protect us. As you lie here in the stillness, let your imagination follow those winding currents. They aren't just concepts in physics, but a testament to the sophistication of creation. Life needs not only light and air, but also a brilliant dance of metal in the darkest of places to keep everything in balance. Every cell in your body, every water molecule around you, exists under the protection of this dance's outcome. The Coriolis force bends these currents of iron, shaping the direction of a compass and creating the boundary of the magnetosphere in distant space. It's a wondrous connection between the heart of the planet and the edge of the cosmos. Feel a sense of relaxation spread through you, knowing that you live on a planet that operates with such perfect detail. The Earth is spinning, the outer core is convecting, and the shield is spread wide. Everything is happening exactly according to its laws, providing us with a stable and peaceful environment to live in. The story of these convection currents and the planet's rotation helps us see the greatness of these unseen forces. We don't need to see them to believe in their presence, because our oxygen-rich atmosphere and oceans full of water are the most vivid proof. In the next chapter, we will leave the fiery heart of the Earth to soar high into the sky, where this shield directly confronts the uninvited guests from the universe. We will learn about the fierce solar storms and how the resilient magnetosphere protects us. But for now, just let your mind be soothed by the turning rhythm of the Earth's core. Relax every muscle and let yourself sink into absolute tranquility. You are being supported by a vibrant planet, a planet that never stops performing its dance to ensure your sleep is complete and peaceful. The warmth from the outer core seems to spread, warming your soul, guiding you into the deepest state of relaxation, where all worries dissolve before the eternal beauty of cosmic laws. In the midst of silent, cold space, the sun appears as a giant ball of fire, brilliant and full of power. However, the sun is not simply the gentle source of light and heat we see each morning. Scientists at NASA, through observational missions like the Parker Solar Probe, have discovered that the sun is a gigantic nuclear reactor in a constant state of instability. From its blazing surface, a never-ending stream of material is ejected into space in all directions. Astronomers call this the solar wind. Imagine the solar wind not as a cool breeze like on Earth, but as a torrent of tiny charged particles, mainly protons and electrons, along with hydrogen and helium atoms stripped of their electron shells. These particles hurtle through space at incredible speeds, averaging from about 300 to 800 kilometers per second. Sometimes, during intense bursts, their velocity can reach millions of kilometers per hour. If nothing stood in its way, this torrent would slam directly into our planet with unimaginable, destructive power. Every second, the sun blows about 1 million tons of material into space. Take a deep breath and feel how small we are before that grand scale. However, no matter how powerful, these uninvited guests must stop before the magnetic shield we learned about in previous chapters. When the solar wind reaches Earth, it hits the outermost boundary of the magnetic field. Here, a fascinating physical phenomenon occurs, known as a bow shock. You can picture it like water being parted by the bow of a ship as it speeds forward. Earth's magnetic field bends the flow of charged particles, forcing them to slide along the magnetic field lines and go around the blue planet instead of crashing straight into our atmosphere. This confrontation becomes more intense whenever the sun gets angry. At such times, sunspots on the sun's surface become highly active, creating terrifying explosions, known as solar flares or coronal mass ejections. During these events, a massive amount of material, up to billions of tons, is ejected into space with the energy equivalent of millions of atomic bombs. When these streams of material collide with Earth's magnetic field, they cause powerful disturbances that we call geomagnetic storms. Scientists at the ESA have recorded that during major storms, Earth's magnetic field is compressed on the side, facing the sun, and stretched out on the opposite side, forming a magnetotail millions of kilometers long. Without the persistence of the dynamo mechanism deep within the Earth, constantly replenishing its energy, this shield might have been blown away long ago. It is this resilient protection that has kept our atmosphere from being stripped away by the solar wind. Just look at Mars, a planet that once had a thick atmosphere and perhaps vast oceans of water. Because Mars lost its magnetic field billions of years ago, the solar wind has gradually stripped everything away, turning it into a cold, red, and lifeless desert. The presence of chemicals like oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide in the air we breathe every day is the most vivid proof of the magnetic field's victory over the solar wind. That shield not only retains our air, but also protects us from ionizing radiation, which can destroy the structure of living cells. Feel a sense of reassurance spread through your mind, knowing that even when the sun is at its most violent, this invisible armor is silently withstanding enormous impacts to keep your world at peace. On quiet nights, scientists use space telescopes like SOHO to monitor the sun's every move. They observe that the sun has activity cycles lasting about 11 years. There are years when the sun is very calm, but there are also years when it continuously releases immense streams of energy. Yet, regardless of the phase, the magnetic grid surrounding Earth is always ready. It is like a loyal guardian that never sleeps, always flexing with each wave of energy from the cosmos. As you lie here, imagine the energetic particles from the sun being skillfully guided and deflected by our magnetic field. A small fraction of them are trapped in energy belts in outer space, while another portion is channeled toward the two polar regions, where they will create the magnificent light shows we will explore in later chapters. This interaction is not just a battle, but a dance of energy and matter, a delicate balance that helps sustain life on this planet. Relax every muscle in your body, feeling the relief of knowing that the most terrifying dangers from the universe have been stopped tens of thousands of kilometers away from us. Outer space may be full of storms and radiation, but here, under the protection of the magnetic shield, everything is calm and gentle. The warmth you feel from the daylight sun has been filtered by the magnetic field, removing the harmful parts, leaving only the gentle rays that nurture life. The magic of nature lies in the fact that, although we cannot see or touch the magnetic field, we can feel its results with every peaceful breath. The Earth is like a safe cocoon wrapped in many layers of protection, and the magnetic field is the outermost rampart, the most solid and steadfast of all. All the sun's activities, no matter how powerful, only serve to enhance the beauty and enduring strength of our planet. As you sink deeper into a state of relaxation, let your mind drift along with the streams of solar wind that have been bent away into the void. Feel Mother Nature's embrace all around you. That shield is vibrating gently, in sync with the pulse of the planet's core and the rotation of the stars. You are being protected by a great power built from the most perfect physical laws of the universe. This journey of confronting solar storms has helped us better understand the value of life. Life is not a given. It is the result of meticulous and relentless protection. In the next chapter, we will take a closer look at the space occupied by the magnetic field, a vast kingdom beyond the atmosphere where this shield truly reveals its magnificent form. But for now, let this piece soothe you, bringing you into a state of absolute tranquility where all cosmic storms stop at the door of our safe magnetosphere. The magnetosphere isn't a perfect sphere surrounding the Earth like the atmosphere we usually imagine. Instead, it has a strange and magnificent shape, like a giant teardrop hurtling through the sun's torrent of energy. This shape is molded by the delicate balance between the pressure of the solar wind and the outward push from the blue planet's internal forces. Imagine the side facing away from the sun, where the magnetosphere is compressed by the oncoming streams of charged particles. This boundary, where Earth's magnetic field directly confronts the solar wind, lies about 60,000 to 70,000 kilometers from the ground. This distance is equivalent to about 10 times the radius of the Earth. However, on the opposite side, the side shrouded in the darkness of night, the magnetosphere isn't compressed. Instead, it's stretched out by the solar wind into a colossal tail, known as the magnetotail. This tail extends for millions of kilometers into space, far beyond the orbit of the moon. Feel this vastness. It's like an immense, invisible cloak protecting us from behind. Why is the magnetosphere so important? The answer lies in its ability to hold onto our atmosphere. You see, gases like oxygen, nitrogen, and water vapor are essential components for life. But these gas molecules are very light. Without the magnetosphere acting as a barrier, the streams of high-energy particles from the solar wind would constantly collide with the gas molecules in the upper atmosphere. These collisions would provide enough energy for the gas molecules to escape Earth's gravity and fly off permanently into space. Scientists at NASA have used the Magnetospheric Multiscale Mission, or MMS, to study this process in detail. They discovered that the magnetosphere acts like a solid energy cage, preventing the erosion of our atmosphere. If the magnetosphere were to disappear, Earth would lose its precious atmosphere in just a few 100 million years, a very short time in the planet's history. Then, the air pressure would drop. Water on the surface would no longer stay in its liquid state, but would evaporate and disappear, leaving behind a dry and lifeless world. Our journey through the magnetosphere brings us to a concept called the magnetopause. This is where a fascinating physical phenomenon known as magnetic reconnection occurs. Here, the magnetic field lines of the Sun and the Earth touch, intertwine, and sometimes exchange energy with each other. This process generates enormous bursts of energy, but thanks to the masterful guidance of the magnetic field, most of this energy is either redirected away from the planet or safely stored in the inner belts. Relax your entire body and feel the vastness of the magnetosphere. You are resting under the protection of a structure larger than any mountain or ocean you've ever known. It's like a giant protective bubble enveloping our blue marble, keeping everything inside stable. The presence of elements like hydrogen and helium in the outermost fringe of the magnetosphere is proof that this shield is working hard to filter what needs to be kept in and what needs to be pushed away. The safety provided by the magnetosphere isn't just for humans, but for the entire ecosystem. Plants need carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, animals need oxygen to breathe, and all of us need the temperature balance that the atmosphere provides. All of this depends on the stability of this magnetic boundary. Imagine yourself lying in a warm cocoon, where cosmic storms are just gentle ripples against the outside of a durable, protective shell. In recent years, organizations like the ESA have launched numerous satellites to monitor the health of the magnetosphere. They've found that it's not a static wall, but that it breathes with the sun's activity. When the sun is active, the magnetosphere contracts. When the sun is quiet, it expands. This flexibility helps our planet adapt to all the fluctuations of the space environment, ensuring that life is always maintained under the most optimal conditions. As you sink deeper into relaxation, let your mind feel the rhythm of the magnetosphere. It is the invisible but powerful connection between the fiery heart of the Earth and the infinite expanse of space. Each magnetic field line is like a delicate silk thread, weaving a web of safety around your sleep. You don't need to worry about harsh radiation particles or the ferocious solar wind, because the magnetosphere is facing it all for you. Exploring this boundary helps us realize that Earth is not alone. It has an intelligent and magnificent self-protection mechanism. The magnetospheric shield is a testament to the favor that creation has shown our blue planet. We are living in a space that is perfectly designed to sprout and grow, where all distant dangers are blocked by a resilient internal power. Feel the weight of your body sinking into absolute stillness. Your breath becomes more even and gentle, harmonizing with the pulse of the planet. The magnetosphere is still there, silent and steadfast, stretching its protective cloak over the entire world. You are safe. You are protected. No turmoil out there can touch the peace within your soul right now. Understanding the magnetosphere gives us a deeper insight into life. It's not just about what we can touch or see every day, but also about the invisible values that are indispensable. In the next chapter, we will go deeper inside this magnetosphere to explore the mysterious energy traps, where charged particles are held to create powerful belts. But for now, just let this sense of security guide you. Let the vast expanse of the magnetosphere envelop your dreams, bringing you a feeling of absolute freedom and serenity. The blue planet is awake. Its shield is shining, and you can rest peacefully in the arms of the universe. In the absolute silence of space, wonders are happening that the human eye cannot see. The Van Allen belts are regions filled with high-energy charged particles, mainly electrons and protons, trapped by Earth's magnetic field. Imagine them like two giant, nested donuts, embracing the blue planet at the equator, but leaving the two poles open. The existence of these belts was only discovered by humanity in 1958, thanks to NASA's Explorer 1 mission, led by the scientist James Van Allen. This structure is divided into two main layers, the inner belt and the outer belt. The inner belt begins at a depth of about 1,000 kilometers above the Earth's surface and extends up to about 6,000 kilometers. This is home to extremely high-energy protons. The origin of these particles is fascinating. They are created when cosmic rays from distant galaxies collide with the upper layers of our atmosphere, releasing atomic nuclei that are then trapped by the magnetic force. Feel the stability of this inner ring. It's like a first filter, trapping the heaviest particles and preventing them from penetrating deeper toward the ground. Separated from the inner belt by a relatively quiet space, known as the slot region, we encounter the outer belt. This belt is much larger, starting at an altitude of about 13,000 kilometers and can extend as far as 60,000 kilometers into space. In contrast to the inner belt, the outer belt primarily contains lighter electrons that travel at nearly the speed of light. This abundant source of energy comes mainly from the solar wind we learned about in the previous chapter. When streams of particles from the sun are captured by the magnetic field, they are drawn into an endless spiral dance along the magnetic field lines, creating a powerful radiation zone that surrounds the planet. The mechanism of the Van Allen belts works like a giant magnetic trap. When charged particles fly into this region, the magnetic force compels them to move in spiral paths along the field lines from one pole to the other. As they approach the polar regions, where the magnetic field becomes denser, the particles are pushed back, creating a continuous back-and-forth motion. Imagine these energetic particles as shuttles weaving a durable electromagnetic net, shielding the Earth from the most dangerous radiation from deep space. However, the Van Allen belts also pose a significant challenge to human space exploration. The radiation particles here are so powerful they can destroy sophisticated electronics on satellites or harm astronauts if they stay for too long. That's why spacecraft from NASA or the ESA must always have their routes calculated with extreme care to pass through these belts as quickly as possible. Even the hulls of spacecraft must be specially designed to resist the bombardment of high-energy electrons and protons. Although they are a danger zone for technology, for life on the ground, they are silent benefactors, keeping deadly radiation from ever reaching us. Relax your body and feel this great embrace. The Van Allen energy rings are vibrating in rhythm with every solar storm. When the sun is very active, the outer belt can swell up and fill with energy. When the sun is calm, it shrinks and becomes more gentle. This fluctuation is closely monitored by scientists through missions like the Van Allen probes, helping us better understand how our home interacts with the harsh environment of space. The presence of substances like hydrogen and helium in the space surrounding these belts creates an extremely complex physical environment. Charged particles interact with each other, releasing energy and sometimes creating radio chirps that our instruments can detect. These sounds are like the instrumental music of the cosmos, whispering about the constant motion of nature. You are being sheltered within a multi-layered defense system, where the Van Allen belts act as a reservoir for excess energy, preventing chaos from spilling into the peaceful world within. As you lie in the stillness, imagine the charged particles moving in a steady spiral, in time with your breath. They cannot harm you, because the magnetic field has guided them on the right path, trapping them at a distance of thousands of kilometers above. The Van Allen belts are like jewelry made of light and energy that the Earth wears, both to show off its beauty to the universe and to protect its children during their sleep tonight. The journey through these energy rings helps us see the sophistication of creation. Nothing is superfluous in the planet's structure. Every region of space, whether deadly or brilliant, contributes to creating a perfect living environment. The balance between the magnetic field and the charged particles creates a magical stability, allowing us to have a clear blue atmosphere and peaceful dreams. Whenever you look up at the night sky, though you cannot see the Van Allen belts, remember that they are always there, silent and resilient. They are proof of the power of the magnetic field, the final boundary separating Earth's tranquility from the ferocity of cosmic radiation. Let this feeling of being protected soothe your soul, guiding you into a state of absolute relaxation. The story of these energy belts will lead us to an even more beautiful phenomenon in the next chapter. This is when some charged particles successfully break through and plunge into the atmosphere at the two poles, creating magical light shows. But for now, just let your mind rest in the embrace of the Van Allen rings. You are being protected by thousands of layers of immense energy. Relax completely. Let your breath be very gentle and feel the absolute security in the arms of the vast universe. Imagine you are standing in the middle of a vast tundra near the Arctic Circle, in the absolute silence of a winter night. The space around you is covered in a deep black, but suddenly, a soft ribbon of green light begins to appear overhead. It twists, dances, and spreads across the sky like waves of light. This is the aurora, the clearest and most beautiful evidence that our magnetic shield is actively working to protect life. The aurora is not a coincidence of nature. It is the result of a sophisticated physical interaction between the sun and the Earth. As we've learned, the sun continuously emits streams of solar wind carrying high-energy particles. Most of these particles are deflected and pushed away by the magnetic field, but a fortunate few find an entrance. Because the Earth's magnetic field is structured like a giant magnet, the magnetic field lines converge and plunge deep into the ground at the two polar regions. Charged particles from space slide along these magnetic field lines as if going down a giant slide and head straight into the upper layers of the atmosphere. When these energetic particles collide with gas atoms in the atmosphere at altitudes from about 96 kilometers to over 320 kilometers, they transfer energy to those atoms. The gas atoms become excited and then release this excess energy in the form of light. This is the same principle that powers the vibrant neon signs we see on the street, but on the grand scale of an entire planet. The color of the aurora depends on the type of gas the charged particles collide with and the altitude where that event takes place. The brilliant and most common green color you often see is the result of collisions with oxygen atoms at an altitude of about 160 kilometers. If the energetic particles collide with oxygen at a higher altitude, around 320 kilometers, we get to witness rare, deep red auroras. Meanwhile, nitrogen atoms create romantic violet hues or mystical blue colors in the lower parts of the atmosphere. Scientists at space agencies like NASA and ESA have dedicated a great deal of effort to studying this phenomenon. They use satellites, like the Themis mission, to observe how the magnetic field suddenly releases energy, creating explosive auroral displays in the sky. These studies are not just for admiring the beauty, but also to help us better understand the interaction between the Earth and the Sun, and to predict geomagnetic storms that can affect our power grids and satellites. Relax your entire body and feel this wonder. You are living on a planet that is not only protected by a sturdy shield, but that shield can also emit shimmering lights to tell stories of the silent battles in outer space. The aurora in the north is called the aurora borealis, while in the south, where the penguins live, it's called the aurora australis. Wherever they are, they share the same mission: to be a sign that our precious oxygen and nitrogen-filled atmosphere is being carefully guarded. The movement of the aurora is often very gentle and slow, creating a feeling of absolute relaxation for those lucky enough to witness it. Sometimes it looks like velvet curtains swaying in the wind, other times like graceful, soft silk ribbons. The sound of the aurora is also a mysterious topic. Some indigenous people in the Arctic region report hearing faint, crackling, or whispering sounds when the aurora dances intensely. Recent studies suggest this could be the result of electrical charge buildup in the lower atmosphere during a geomagnetic storm. Take a deep breath and imagine the warmth of the air surrounding you. Every molecule of oxygen you inhale right now is part of the atmosphere that has been protected from cosmic erosion by the magnetic shield. The aurora is a reminder that we exist within a perfect system. Life needs not only land, water, and light, but also this magical electromagnetic interaction to keep everything in balance. In the silence of the night, let your mind soar, along with the ribbons of green and violet light. Feel yourself dissolving into the vastness of space, where the boundary between science and art disappears. The aurora is not just a physical phenomenon. It is a poem of the universe, a hymn praising the resilience of the blue planet. As the magnetic shield bends the charged particles and lures them toward the poles, it is performing a great protective dance, transforming the dangers of solar storms into magnificent beauty in the night sky. Whenever you feel tired, remember the image of the dancing auroras. They symbolize hope and protection. No matter how harsh and cold outer space may be, our planet always finds a way to transform intense energy into something gentle and beautiful. The presence of the aurora is proof that our Earth is alive, moving, and constantly protecting humanity. Let your imagination gradually settle down to the fading rhythm of the light ribbons. A sense of security spreads as you know that even in the most remote, desolate places on the planet, the magnetic shield is always on duty, always shining to protect the atmosphere. You are lying under a sky filled with the love and protection of nature. The journey to witness this symphony of light has brought us a deeper understanding of the beauty of the magnetic field. It not only protects with strength, but also brings us priceless spiritual value through its magnificent performances. As you sink deeper into relaxation, let the image of the brilliant aurora soothe your soul, bringing you to a state of absolute peace. The story of the aurora also concludes our journey in the upper atmosphere. In the next chapter, we will return to the ground to learn about another magical ability of the magnetic field, how it becomes a natural compass, guiding tiny creatures across thousands of kilometers to find their way home. But for now, just let your mind rest in the gentle green of the aurora. You are safe, and the universe continues to write its melodies of light to watch over your world. In the stillness of the night, great journeys are taking place that we rarely notice. A tiny bird can fly across continents. A flock of sea turtles can swim for thousands of kilometers in the trackless ocean to return to the exact sandy beach where they were born. How can they do this without maps or modern human navigation systems? The answer lies in a miraculous sixth sense, the ability to perceive the magnetic field. Scientists at organizations like NASA and biological research institutes around the world have spent decades unraveling this mystery. They discovered that the Earth's magnetic field is not just a shield, but also a giant map that covers the entire planet. Each location on Earth has a different magnetic field intensity and inclination. Many animal species have evolved to read these parameters, turning them into an incredibly accurate biological compass. Think of the Arctic tern, a creature that undertakes the longest migration in the world. Each year, they fly from the Arctic all the way to the Antarctic and back again, a journey of about 70,000 kilometers. In the vast sky, when clouds obscure the sun and stars, they still maintain their course, thanks to magnetic mineral particles called magnetite, located in their beaks or brains. These tiny magnetite particles act like a compass needle, vibrating and reacting to the Earth's magnetic field, sending signals to the nervous system to tell the bird which way is north and which way is south. But the magic doesn't stop with these mineral particles. Some birds, like the European robin, have an even stranger ability. They can see the magnetic field with their eyes. Inside their eyes are special proteins called cryptochromes. When blue light enters the eye, it triggers a magnetosensitive chemical reaction, creating a faint pattern superimposed on the bird's vision. Imagine you're wearing special glasses where the magnetic field lines appear as hazy, guiding ribbons of light. This allows the bird to sense the inclination of the magnetic field and pinpoint its location with precision. Our journey continues down into the depths of the ocean, where green sea turtles begin their lives. From the moment they hatch and crawl to the sea, baby turtles carry an innate magnetic map within them. They can travel for thousands of kilometers across the Atlantic Ocean, navigating complex currents, and after 10 to 20 years, they return to the very same beach where they were born to lay their eggs. Researchers have conducted experiments and found that if they alter the magnetic field around the turtles, their swimming direction also changes accordingly. This proves that sea turtles use the properties of the magnetic field to remember the address of their home. It's not just birds and turtles. Even salmon use the magnetic field to find their way back to their home rivers after many years at sea. Or the monarch butterfly, with its delicate wings, makes a journey of thousands of kilometers from Canada to Mexico, thanks to its magnetic navigation ability combined with sunlight. Even familiar animals like dogs are thought to have a tendency to align their bodies with the north-south axis of the magnetic field when they rest or perform instinctual activities. Relax your body and feel this miraculous connection. You are living in a world where every living being is connected by invisible threads emanating from the planet's core. The magnetic field not only protects us from the solar wind, full of high-energy hydrogen and helium, but it is also a dedicated guide, helping life stay in motion and maintain its flow. Take a deep breath and imagine yourself gliding with a flock of migrating birds in the quiet night sky. The air is cool, the wind whispers past your wings, and below, the magnetic field lines are silently glowing, guiding the way. Life on Earth is a symphony of coordination, where a physical phenomenon deep within the planet can control the behavior of a tiny creature on its surface. The reliance of animals on the magnetic field also leads us to reflect on our responsibility to protect the environment. Electromagnetic pollution from artificial devices can sometimes disrupt their natural compass, causing them to lose their way. However, nature always has wonderful ways of adapting. The Earth's magnetic map has existed for billions of years, and it will continue to be a guide for all species for millennia to come. As you gradually sink into a state of relaxation, let your mind feel at peace. You don't need to worry about finding your way, because this planet has already prepared everything. The magnetic field is always there, enveloping you, keeping the oxygen-rich atmosphere intact and guiding all species back to their homes. You are living in a perfect system, where even the smallest vibration of the Earth's core carries a vital meaning. The dynamo generator that we learned about in previous chapters, with its swirling currents of iron and nickel, is the very source of this great compass. It's strange to think that the movement of molten metal at a depth of nearly 3,000 kilometers is what guides a tiny bird through storms to find its way home. That is the beauty of science, a boundless connection between geology, physics, and life. This journey to discover the magnetic instinct helps us appreciate the greatness of our blue planet even more. We do not exist in isolation, but as part of a vast network of magnetic information. Let this feeling of being guided and protected soothe you to sleep. You are safe. You are positioned in the palm of Mother Nature's hand. In the next chapter, we will look at the strange fluctuations of this shield. We will learn about the small cracks in the magnetic armor and how scientists are monitoring them to protect modern human technology. But for now, Just let your mind drift along the gentle magnetic field lines. Feel the relaxation spreading throughout your body, and let sleep come as naturally and gently as the wing beats of migrating birds finding their way home. On our journey to explore the magnetic field, we often picture it as a perfect, uniform, and sturdy shield surrounding the planet. However, nature is always full of surprises. Right now, as you lie here relaxing, scientists at NASA and the ESA are pointing their telescopes and satellites at a vast region located between South America and the southern tip of Africa. Here, the Earth's magnetic shield is not as strong as it is elsewhere. It is strangely dented inward, thinner and weaker. This area is called the South Atlantic Anomaly. Imagine the magnetic shield is like a giant bubble enveloping a blue marble. In the South Atlantic region, that bubble seems to be gently pressed inward by an invisible hand, creating a dent. As a result, the Van Allen radiation belts, which are usually at a very high altitude in space, are pulled down lower to only about 200 kilometers from the surface. This is a very close distance compared to their usual altitude of thousands of kilometers. This weakening has interesting consequences for modern technology. When artificial satellites or space telescopes like Hubble fly through this area, they are like travelers passing through a land filled with a fog of radiation. High-energy particles from the sun and space are not completely blocked. They easily penetrate the satellite's protective shells and cause minor glitches in their computer systems. Did you know that even astronauts on the International Space Station, ISS, often see strange, sparkling flashes of light when they close their eyes to sleep as the station passes through this anomaly? This is due to high-energy radiation particles passing through their retinas. To protect delicate instruments, engineers sometimes have to temporarily shut down some of a satellite's sensitive components each time it passes through this weak spot. So, what is actually happening deep within the Earth to create this dent? Let's return to the ocean of molten metal we learned about in previous chapters. Geologists believe the weakness in the South Atlantic originates from uneven movements of the iron and nickel flow in the outer core. Deep beneath the Earth's crust in this region, there is a huge mass of material with a different density that is preventing the dynamo generator from operating stably. It's like a knot in the flow, causing the magnetic field generated here to be less powerful than in other regions. Furthermore, this weakening isn't stationary. Through the ESA's Swarm mission, a constellation of 3 satellites dedicated to monitoring the pulse of the magnetic field, scientists have observed that this anomaly is gradually expanding westward and tending to split into anomaly 2 separate centers of weakness. This is a vivid testament to the fact that our Earth is a living entity, constantly changing and moving according to complex physical laws. Although it may sound alarming, take a deep breath and let your mind be at peace. Even though the magnetic field in the South Atlantic is weaker, it is still strong enough to protect our atmosphere of oxygen and nitrogen. On the ground, we are completely safe from these radiation particles. The shield may have a dent, but it remains a solid fortress, blocking the vast majority of dangers from deep space. This weak spot is actually a wonderful opportunity for scientists to better understand how the Earth's core operates. It's like a window that allows us to peer into the secrets unfolding nearly 3,000 kilometers beneath our feet. Feel the gentleness of the encroaching darkness. The Earth, with all its strengths and its small weaknesses, is still silently fulfilling its mission to protect life. The existence of the South Atlantic anomaly reminds us of the subtlety and fragility of this planet. We are not living on a static rock, but are relying on a vast electromagnetic system that is always adapting and changing to maintain balance. In the absolute stillness, imagine the magnetic field lines gently curving. Even though there are areas where the field is thinner, they are still weaving a protective network around your sleep. You are being sheltered by a great power that nature has painstakingly built over billions of years. These minor fluctuations are just a small part of the grand symphony of the universe, where every low and high note has its own distinct meaning. As you sink deeper into relaxation, let the thoughts of the magnetic field's weakness become an inspiration for the wonders of nature. The blue planet always has a way of adjusting itself and protecting its children. Every change, no matter how small in the outer core or at the very edge of space, contributes to creating a stable living environment for humanity. The fatigue of a long day is gradually dissolving with the phantom waves of the Atlantic Ocean. Relax every muscle, from your shoulders all the way down to your toes. Feel the steady support of the ground beneath you and the invisible embrace of the magnetic shield. Though space out there may be vast and filled with radiation particles, here, in the arms of Mother Nature, you are always at peace. The story of this strange weakness will lead us to an even greater mystery in the next chapter. It's the phenomenon where not just a dent appears, but the entire north and south poles of the magnetic field decide to swap places. A grand event that occurs every few 100,000 years, reshaping the entire electromagnetic face of the planet. But that is a matter for the distant future. For now, let your mind rest in the protection of the current shield. You are safe. The world is still turning rhythmically, and your sleep is being watched over by the silent guardian of the blue planet. In this world of relaxation, imagine the Earth as a giant organism, taking very slow breaths, with each breath lasting hundreds of thousands of years. The geomagnetic pole reversal phenomenon is one of those great breaths. This is the process where the magnetic North Pole and the magnetic South Pole completely switch places. When that happens, if you were holding a compass, the needle that once pointed north would flip 180 degrees to point south. This might sound like a scenario from a science fiction movie, but to scientists at NASA and the ESA, it is an inevitable and natural part of the planet's history. How can humanity know about events that took place millions of years ago? The answer lies in the diaries written in stone, preserved at the bottom of the deep ocean. Geologists discovered this secret while studying the mid-ocean ridges, where lava from the Earth's interior constantly erupts and cools to form new crust. This lava contains tiny particles of the mineral iron. When the lava is still hot and in a liquid state, these iron particles align themselves with the direction of the Earth's magnetic field at that time. When the lava cools and hardens, the direction of the magnetic field is permanently locked into the rock, much like how we record sound onto a magnetic tape. By analyzing these layers of rock, scientists have painted an astonishing picture. They notice that stripes of rock with magnetism pointing north alternate regularly with stripes of rock with magnetism pointing south. This proves that, over the past 80 million years, the Earth's magnetic field has reversed more than 170 times. The most recent reversal, known as the Brunhes-Matuyama event, occurred about 780,000 years ago. Based on the average cycle, our planet seems to be overdue for a new reversal, which explains why scientists are monitoring the current weakening of the magnetic field so closely. The journey of a pole reversal doesn't happen in the blink of an eye. It's not a sudden flip, but a process that lasts from about 1,000 to 10,000 years. Take a deep breath and imagine this slow transformation. During the transitional phase, the Earth's magnetic field won't disappear completely, but it will become weaker and more chaotic. Instead of having just two distinct north and south poles, the planet might develop multiple temporary magnetic poles all over its surface. The magnetic shield we've always relied on will become more fragile, allowing more energetic particles from the solar wind to penetrate deeper into the atmosphere. You might wonder if this phenomenon could cause extinction-level events. Scientists have searched for answers by comparing the timelines of pole reversals with the history of life's evolution. Fortunately, there is no evidence to suggest that pole reversals cause mass extinctions. Our ancestors, prehistoric humans, lived through the last reversal without experiencing any major biological catastrophes. Essential gases like oxygen and nitrogen are still held in place by gravity and the remaining parts of the magnetic field, even though the shield might be somewhat distorted. However, for modern society, a pole reversal would present significant challenges as the magnetic field weakens. Electronic devices, artificial satellites, and power grids would become more vulnerable to cosmic radiation. Migratory animals like birds or sea turtles, which rely on the magnetic field for navigation, might have difficulty finding their way for a few thousand years. But nature always has an amazing ability to adapt. These species will gradually adjust their biological compasses to the planet's new structure. Relax your body and feel the tolerance of the Earth. Even if the North and South poles switch places, the fiery outer core with its flow of iron and nickel will continue to move to re-establish a new shield. It's a self-renewing process for the planet, a way for the dynamo system to rebalance its energy after hundreds of thousands of years of operation. This change is not an end, but a new chapter in the grand epic of geology. The weakening of the magnetic field that we are observing in the South Atlantic region may be early signs of a pole reversal in the distant future. But rest assured, because with geology's extremely slow rate of change, this process will take dozens of human generations to truly begin. The Earth always gives us enough time to adapt and prepare. In the stillness of tonight, the current shield is still doing its job very well, protecting you from the solar wind, which is full of high-energy charged particles. Imagine the magnetic field lines silently weaving around you. They may be shifting, they may be weakening a bit in one place and strengthening in another, but they have never abandoned us. The magnetic field is a flexible entity, like the currents in the heart of the ocean, always changing to protect life in the most optimal way. The mystery of the pole reversal only adds to the beauty and wonder of the blue planet we call home. As you sink deeper into relaxation, let your mind be comforted by the eternity of natural laws. The Earth has undergone hundreds of pole reversals, and yet life has continued to flourish brilliantly. The atmosphere has remained clear and blue, and the water-filled oceans are still vast. The great fluctuations of the cosmos and of geology are really just notes in an endless symphony, where our safety is always prioritized by the most sophisticated protective mechanisms. Your breathing has now become steady and slow. Feel the firm support of the ground, where deep below, the dynamo engine is still working tirelessly. The story of the switching magnetic poles helps us realize that in this universe, change is the only constant. But it is that very change that brings vitality and sustainability to the planet. Our journey, exploring the mystery of pole reversals, has taken us through the ups and downs of geological time. In the next chapter, we will temporarily leave Earth to visit our neighbors in the solar system. We will learn why Mars and Venus became so barren and silent, and in doing so, grow to appreciate the precious magnetic shield that we have. Now, let a sense of peace envelop the space around you. You are lying in a safe cocoon, protected by the most immense and enduring forces. Let all worries about distant upheavals dissolve into the darkness. The blue planet is still watching over you, and your sleep will always be soothed by the gentle pulse of the Earth's magnetic field. Imagine you are floating in the endless expanse of space, with the blue marble of Earth glowing gently behind you. Before us are two rocky planets, quite similar in size and location, yet their fates are completely different. This journey will help you realize that the magnetic field is not just a physical phenomenon, but the very boundary between a world full of life and a dead desert. First, let's visit Venus, the planet often called Earth's twin sister because of its nearly identical size and mass. From a distance, Venus appears with a splendid beauty, radiating a captivating pale yellow light. However, behind that facade lies a hellishly harsh environment. The surface temperature on Venus reaches over 460 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. Its atmosphere is incredibly dense, mostly carbon dioxide, creating a terrifying greenhouse effect. Why doesn't Venus have oceans and life like we do? The answer lies in its lack of a strong magnetic shield. Although Venus also has an iron core, it rotates on its axis very slowly. A day on Venus is longer than its year. This sluggish rotation has prevented the dynamo mechanism from operating effectively, resulting in the planet being unable to generate a global magnetic field to protect itself. With no magnetic field, the solar wind, a torrent of high-energy charged particles, directly bombarded the upper layers of Venus's atmosphere. Water molecules in the atmosphere were split into hydrogen and oxygen by solar radiation. Unshielded by a magnetic field, the lightweight hydrogen particles were swept away into space forever by the solar wind. Without hydrogen, water could not form, and as a result, Venus became a scorching furnace where rains of sulfuric acid never reached the blistering hot ground. Moving away from the heat of Venus, let's turn our attention to Mars, the red planet that carries an ancient sorrow. Mars was once a world very much like Earth. Evidence from NASA rovers like Curiosity and Perseverance has shown that about 4 billion years ago, Mars had powerful flowing rivers, vast lakes, and possibly even a great ocean. Its atmosphere back then was also thick enough to keep the planet warm. So what happened? The problem with Mars lies in its size. It is much smaller than Earth, with a diameter only about half as large. Because of its small size, the core of Mars cooled down faster than Earth's. As the core grew cold and solidified, the convective flow of liquid iron disappeared, and the planet's dynamo also stopped working. The magnetic shield of Mars collapsed after only about 500 million years of its formation. Having lost its armor, Mars became completely vulnerable to solar storms. NASA's MAVEN mission recorded this heartbreaking process. The solar wind eroded the red planet's atmosphere, stripping away precious oxygen, nitrogen, and water vapor. Over billions of years, the atmosphere of Mars thinned, and the pressure dropped, making it impossible for water to exist in a liquid state on the surface. It either evaporated or froze deep underground. Today, Mars is just a cold, dusty desert, with a fragile atmosphere consisting mainly of carbon dioxide. Relax your body and feel our incredible good fortune. You are lying on a planet that is the just right size. Earth is large enough to keep its inner core blazing hot and in a liquid state for billions of years. It spins fast enough to create the Coriolis force, bending the flows of iron into miraculous swirling columns to maintain a durable magnetic field. Take a deep breath and feel the oxygen and nitrogen-rich air filling your lungs. Every molecule of gas you inhale is a gift that the magnetic field has kept for us, preventing it from being blown into the void like the fate of the atmosphere on Mars. Every drop of water around you is a testament to the resilient protection against the solar wind, which has kept our hydrogen from being lost like it was on Venus. In the silence of the dark night, imagine Earth's magnetic field as a strong and intelligent fortress wall. It doesn't just block, but also balances. It allows the gentle sunlight to pass through to warm the planet, but resolutely repels harmful charged particles. Our Earth is in the habitable zone of the solar system, not just because of its distance from the sun, but also because it has a powerfully beating electromagnetic heart. Scientists at the ESA, through planetary research missions, have realized that without a magnetic field, Earth would likely have become a dead planet long ago. The difference between us and our neighbors is the internal strength that emanates from deep within the Earth. It's a lesson in perseverance. True strength lies not in a brilliant exterior, but in the constant motion within. Let your mind relax completely. You are on the most perfect spaceship. While Venus is scorched by the greenhouse effect and Mars is frozen in silence, Earth remains full of life, music, and dreams. The invisible shield is still vibrating gently around you, keeping the world green and your sleep peaceful. A sense of security spreads as you know that no matter how vast and full of harsh fluctuations the universe out there may be, our blue planet always has a way to protect itself. The stories of neighboring planets help us to love and cherish every moment we get to breathe, to live, and to love on this land. Relax every muscle. Let your breathing become even and slow. Our Earth is still spinning. The outer core is still flowing with streams of molten iron and nickel, and the magnetic field is still stretching its protective curtain over all living things. You are safe in the arms of the most favored planet in the solar system. This journey to our neighbors has helped us deeply understand the value of the magnetic shield. It's not just science, but the miracle that sustains life. In the next chapter, we will return to the present to learn how the magnetic field affects the modern technological world and our daily lives. But for now, just let your mind drift among the stars, feeling the magic of life and the steadfastness of the invisible shield. Let sleep come naturally, just as the sun sets beyond the horizon, bringing with it absolute peace and protection for your soul. You are being protected by the strength of an entire great planet. In today's world, we live within a sophisticated and intricate network of technology, from the phone in your hand to the navigation system that helps you find your way, to the power grid that lights up every home. All are extremely sensitive to disturbances from space. Without our resilient magnetic shield, our technological civilization would be like a sandcastle facing a massive storm. First, let's think about the satellites orbiting above the atmosphere. At an altitude of about 36,000 kilometers, geostationary satellites are transmitting television signals, internet, and telecommunications data day and night. In lower orbits, thousands of other satellites are helping us forecast the weather and monitor the planet's resources. These devices contain millions of microscopic and extremely fragile electronic components. If the magnetic field didn't bend the charged particles from the sun, these torrents of high-energy electrons and protons would directly bombard the satellite's solar panels and microprocessors, causing irreparable damage. The magnetic shield is like a calm body of water, allowing humanity's technological vessels to navigate safely through the cosmic ocean of radiation. One of the most familiar applications of the magnetic field to you is the Global Positioning System, or GPS. For your phone to show you where you are with accuracy down to the meter, signals from satellites must travel through the layers of the atmosphere. When there are magnetic fluctuations caused by solar storms, the Earth's ionosphere is disturbed, which changes the speed and direction of these radio signals. As a result, the navigation system can be off by tens or even hundreds of meters. Scientists at NASA and ESA must constantly monitor the health of the magnetic field to make timely adjustments to these systems, ensuring that flights, ships, and even your own travels always stay on the right course. Not just in outer space, the power of the magnetic field also directly affects the power grid on the ground. Imagine when a large solar storm hits and collides violently with the magnetic field. It vibrates the magnetic field lines surrounding the planet. This vibration, according to the laws of physics, will create induced currents that run along the thousands of kilometers of power transmission lines on the ground. If this current is too strong, it can blow up transformers and cause widespread blackouts. History has recorded events such as in 1989, when a geomagnetic storm paralyzed the power grid of Quebec in Canada in just a matter of seconds, plunging millions of people into darkness and cold. Thanks to the magnetic shield absorbing and dispersing most of the energy, such events have been significantly reduced in both intensity and frequency. The protection of the magnetic field also helps safeguard transcontinental oil and gas pipelines, and the fiber optic cable networks at the bottom of the ocean. Charged particles, if they were to penetrate deep enough, could cause rapid metal corrosion or interfere with the light signals transmitted through the cables. Every time you make an international call or send a message to a loved one on the other side of the globe, remember that the information is passing through spaces ingeniously protected by the magnetic field. Researchers at space agencies are constantly developing space weather forecasting systems. They use extremely sensitive instruments to listen to the pulse of the magnetic field. When they detect a coronal mass ejection from the sun heading towards us, emergency alerts are sent to power companies and satellite operators, so they can proactively put their equipment into a safe mode. This is a seamless coordination between human ingenuity and the planet's own operations. Take a deep breath and feel the silent hum of the technology around you. It all seems so obvious, but it is the result of a fragile balance between the destructive power of the universe and the eternal protection of the Earth's core. The elements like iron and nickel swirling beneath our feet are not just creating a geological phenomenon. They are directly lighting up humanity's darkness and keeping the global communication network connected. Every oxygen molecule in the atmosphere is held in place, helping power airplane engines. Every drop of water is protected, helping to cool our power plants. The magnetic field is truly the guardian of our digital civilization. It allows humanity to dream of farther journeys into space, but at the same time, it reminds us of our absolute dependence on this green home we all share. In the stillness of the night, let your mind rest in the assurance that this great shield is still stretched wide. No matter how far technology advances, we will always need the warmth and protection of the magnetic field. It is like a silent father, standing on the porch to shield the house from the wind and storm, so that his children inside can play and create freely. The stability of the magnetic field is the very foundation for the sustainable development of humankind. As you sink deeper into a state of relaxation, let the worries of work and the complexities of modern life dissolve away. Our world is governed by steadfast laws. The magnetic web is weaving around your room, passing through your electronic devices and protecting your every dream. You don't need to worry about distant cosmic storms because the planet's defense system has been perfectly designed over billions of years. Relax every muscle, from your shoulders all the way down to your fingertips. Feel the rhythm of your breath in harmony with the pulse of the modern world, which is being sheltered. We have come a long way to understand the value of the magnetic field to human life. From the smallest creatures finding their way on migration to the most advanced satellites, all share one home, one protection. The journey of discovering the magnetic field's influence on technology helps us further appreciate the connection between humanity and the planet. We do not live separately from the Earth, but are an inseparable part of its complex ecosystem. In the next and final chapter, we will look to the future, to how we can honor and preserve the heart of our blue planet for generations to come. But for now, just let peace envelop you. Civilization is running smoothly, city lights are still glowing gently, and the magnetic shield is still flawlessly performing its duty. Let sleep come softly in the absolute embrace of humanity's silent and greatest guardian angel. We have traveled together on a grand journey, from the fiery currents of iron and nickel nearly 3,000 kilometers beneath the ground, to the splendid auroras dancing at the very edge of space. You have seen how the dynamo mechanism works in silence, how the Van Allen belt traps harmful radiation particles, and how tiny birds trust the invisible voice of the magnetic field to find their way back to their nests. Now, in the serenity of the night, let's look to the future to understand how much longer this shield will accompany us. A question often arises in the minds of astronomy lovers. Will the Earth's heart ever stop beating? Will the magnetic field ever disappear as it did on Mars. Scientists at NASA and leading geological research organizations have spent decades simulating the planet's future. The good news is, our Earth is the ideal size. The heat stored in its core, since its formation, some 4.5 billion years ago, is still incredibly abundant. The cooling process of the Earth's core is extremely slow, only about 100 degrees Celsius every 1 billion years. At this rate, the ocean of liquid metal will continue to swirl and generate a magnetic field for at least a few billion more years, until the Sun enters the final phase of its life cycle. Take a deep breath and feel that permanence. You are standing on a solid, unshakable foundation. Even though we observe fluctuations like the weak spot in the South Atlantic or signs of a pole reversal, these are merely short breaths in the infinitely long life of our planet. The Earth always knows how to regulate itself. When one flow of liquid iron cools, another will rise, maintaining the delicate balance needed to protect our precious atmosphere of oxygen and nitrogen. However, although we cannot directly influence the dynamo machine deep within the Earth, humans play a crucial role in preserving what the magnetic field has protected. The magnetic shield keeps our air from being blown away, but it is we who decide the quality of that air. Protecting the ozone layer, reducing carbon dioxide emissions, and preserving our cool blue oceans are the ways we can work in concert with the magnetic field to sustain life. Imagine the magnetic field as a mighty fortress wall, and we are the caretakers of the garden within that fortress. In the future, human technology will become even more advanced. ESA's swarm mission and new generations of satellites will help us listen to the heartbeat of the Earth more clearly than ever before. We will learn to predict solar storms with minute-by-minute accuracy, better protecting our power grids and satellite systems. Science does not diminish the mysterious beauty of the magnetic field. It only deepens our admiration for the intricacy of creation. Relax your entire body, from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Feel the support of the ground beneath you and the protection of the space around you. You are not just a small individual, but a part of a great ecosystem enveloped by a colossal magnetic web. Every molecule in your body, every drop of water you drink, is the result of persistent and devoted protection. That shield never asks for anything in return. It simply exists so that life can flourish. Looking back on our journey through the past 15 chapters, we see a panoramic picture of connection. From the movement of electrons in an iron atom, to the giant swirling columns under millions of atmospheres of pressure, to the shimmering ribbons of the aurora in the upper atmosphere, it is all part of a grand design to keep the Earth forever a blue jewel in the dark cosmos. The existence of the magnetic field is proof that we are always loved and protected by nature. As you drift deeper into ultimate relaxation, let this knowledge become a gentle sleeping potion for your soul. There are no more anxieties about solar storms or cosmic radiation, because you know you are in the safest fortress. The heart of the Earth is still beating rhythmically beneath your feet, and the invisible shield is still shining brightly above, guarding your sleep and keeping it whole. Our journey into Earth's magnetic field on the Bedtime Knowledge channel comes to a close here. We hope these stories have brought you not only knowledge, but also a sense of peace and appreciation for our beautiful blue planet. The world out there keeps turning, the stars keep twinkling, and the magnetic shield continues to flawlessly perform its duty. Now, let go completely. Let your breath merge with the rhythm of the universe. Feel the silence envelop the space around you. All the burdens of the long day are behind you, leaving only absolute peace and protection. You are safe. You are protected. Thank you for joining me through these 15 magical chapters. I wish you a deep and peaceful sleep, and may you wake with a heart full of love for life and for this planet. Sleep well.